This one's wife. Hallowe'en. It's not them. Hello, I'm HG Tudor. You've seen the picture that was purportedly taken of this one's wife, Harry, and the two children, that has then been commented upon across various media, both mainstream and social, which seems at face value to have been a response from this one's wife to Catherine being described as a beloved daughter-in-law, thus that having wounded her, as I explained in the video, the King's snub, and therefore her narcissism has prompted her to have to do something to bring the attention back onto her, thus nullifying the threat to control posed by King Charles's comments and enabling her to obtain further fuel. Interestingly, the Daily Mail commented about the photograph, but didn't actually show it. Hello magazine, they have commented about it. The article reads, Prince Harry and this one's wife take children, Archie and Lilibet, trick-or-treating. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex headed out near their home in Monty Shit Show. And yet in the short article, there is no photograph of the actual photograph where they've apparently been doing the trick-or-treating. Elle magazine tells us this one's wife and Prince Harry were seen taking Lily and Archie trick-or-treating in Monty Shit Show. And yet, the photograph is again not produced. OK magazine tells us Prince Harry and this one's wife take children Lilibet and Archie trick-or-treating in California. And yet, the relevant photograph is not shown. Cosmopolitan leads with the headline, Prince Harry and this one's wife took their kids trick-or-treating and my heart can't handle it. Their little pumpkins enjoy the holiday in Monty Shit Show. Now, Cosmopolitan actually does show the photograph that is shown at something called @RoyalRota, being the account on X, and there is the picture. But what's interesting is that many of the outlets comment about the emergence of the picture, but they don't actually show it themselves. And to my mind, that suggests that these outlets doubt the provenance of it. What is interesting is that when you look at the photograph, it actually doesn't look like this one's wife. The person there looks to be, well, they're not chunky, but chunkier than her. You'll recall that in recent appearances she's looked positively skeletal, and here the individual has got a bit more beef on them. As I say, certainly not fat, but there does appear to be quite the discrepancy. As always, in the photographs that have appeared as of late, it's taken from behind. You can't really make out Lilibet. There's just sort of like a pink blob, and apparently the child can't walk, or perhaps she was having a tantrum and wasn't wanting to do so. But the content of the photo, the fact that it's taken from behind, and also it does look somewhat suspicious as to, is it actually them? I know on other occasions there have been photographs where people have questioned, is it actually them, or is the photograph one which has sort of been photoshopped into a particular circumstance, and it is them, but they weren't actually in the place that was described. At the end of the day, you can make your own mind up by looking at this photograph to determine whether you believe it is them or not. What it does appear is that a somewhat suspect photograph has been released, and of course this is being done for the purposes of ensuring she has control and fuel. Would a narcissist go so far as to have a photograph released which isn't actually the individuals concerned, or it is the individuals concerned, but it's been photoshopped to make them look like they're doing something? Absolutely. The narcissist would engage in such chicanery because the narcissist has no emotional empathy. The narcissist will act without that accountability and will function with a sense of entitlement in order to get to those subconscious prime aims. There is much that could be dissected in relation to the photograph to call into question who is it that actually appears in it. Not only is it not particularly sharp, but also it really does, to my mind, just on a cursory glance, be questionable as to, is that really this one's wife? And even the man that appears in it, well, it could be anybody who looks similar to Harry. It's predictable enough, of course, that after King Charles's speech and the fact that this one's wife always has to demonstrate that they're loving life in America, that a photograph of this nature drops. It almost seems to my mind that they didn't go and do this, and instead there's some faked family picture that has been cobbled together with Photoshop, supposedly taken by a passerby, and that it comes from some private Insta account. It would not surprise me at all. And as I say, it's up to you to make your own determination about the veracity of this picture. But it would not surprise me if this one's wife actually went so far as to cobble together a lazy, faked family photograph of this nature, which then happens to be released by a passerby, when in actual fact it's this one's wife, and it ends up splashing across various newspapers. I think it's telling that several of the magazines and newspapers don't actually show you the photograph, and therefore I think they question whether it's a legitimate picture. Ordinarily, of course, they would show you, but it's not just the Daily Mail that didn't have it. Hello didn't have it. Elle didn't have it. And therefore, maybe they looked at it and thought, not really sure it's them, or we can't establish that it's them. But the fact is, it has been put out there, purportedly as a picture of them, and as always, it's being done to generate attention. I suppose an alternative explanation might be that a small family thought, what could be one of the most frightening things that you could dress up as? Oh, we'll dress up as the Sussexes. You dress up as Prince Harry, I'll dress up as this one's wife, and we'll find 2 small children to accompany us. They can be Archie and Lilibet. So it might actually be it's somebody else that has decided to dress up as them as a joke for Halloween. The picture is sufficiently blurred and sketchy to call into question its veracity. And furthermore, when you're dealing with a narcissist, it's invariably the case that much of what she does is dodgy. You will see that there's many people who are famous who go out trick-or-treating, and you'll see a clear lens, sharp, focused picture of them, and taken from the front, not just some random picture of somebody walking down the road. And therefore, would a passerby really take such a picture? As I mentioned in a separate video, you would think that they would photograph them from the front. Furthermore, why would that individual then release it? It seems far more likely that as a consequence of her need to nullify the threat to control posed by the comments about Catherine, her nemesis, and the necessity of drawing fuel, that she can't help herself but cobble together some fake-ass photograph, which then is splurged to the various news agencies, which is commented about, and therefore job done. As is always the case, though, with this one's wife, because of the level of scepticism about her behaviour and dislike for her conduct, there's an army of individuals who look at it and think, that is suspect. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.